My dog's all excited because we're going to groom right now. And there's always this boy dog there that always be up on my dog, and she loves it. That's like her boyfriend or something. But I tell her every time she goes to groom her and that boy dog's there, don't be coming back pregnant. Don't be coming back pregnant, all right? I ain't paying for those babies. I ain't paying for those puppies. You want to get two jobs. She's already expensive, bruh. I can't afford more dogs, so I tell her every time, don't come back pregnant. Because she got to get a job or something. I don't know where dogs work. I don't know if they're hiring dogs somewhere. She got to work at Petco or something. You want to work at Petco at the front, like the cashier or something. Because I ain't paying for puppies, bruh. I'm already broke.
Hello, everyone. This is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
This is really mean of me to say, but I have to say it. I've seen 2 videos of people asking for money to adopt a shelter animal. If you cannot afford the fees to adopt them from a shelter, how are you going to afford to take care of them? Animals cost a lot of money. Shelter visits, you have to go yearly, and unless they're sick, you're gonna have to go multiple times. Food costs a lot of money. Treats, toys, leashes, collars, their monthly pills that they need for heartworm and flea medication. And if you go out of town and you don't have anybody to watch them, you have to pay somebody to come watch, and that is expensive. I love that people want to adopt. I think adopting is the most amazing, special thing you could do. Far better than getting an animal from a breeder, but we can talk about that a different day. But please, if you are not in a financial position to take care of an animal, do not adopt them, even if you really want them.
I just wanted to come on here and kind of like rant about my vet bills. They're so expensive for my children. They're getting pricey. So I've had one of my dogs for 2 years now, and I love him to death. He's a Corgi Mini Aussie Mix. He's somewhere on my page. But had him for 2 years. He's an angel. I love him so much. Got another puppy in December. I got her on December 12th, and her puppy shots were $220-ish dollars. So, and I brought her on the day I got her. I'm gonna give y'all dates, by the way. Brought her to get her puppy shots on the day I got her. So that was $220. And the next night she started throwing up. Blah, blah. I didn't feel good. And I was like, oh, maybe it's because, she's not reacting well to these meds that she's been given. She also had to take some sort of pill the next day for something. I don't know. But brought her to the vet because they're like, yeah, she's throwing up, bring her in. I was like, cool, brought her in. Well, it turns out she had parvo, and she had to be hospitalized for 5 days. So that was getting a little pricey because, I don't know if y'all know, but the number one reason dogs die from parvo is because of dehydration. So she had to stay there so they could keep her hooked up to an IV and keep her hydrated. So that was $870. $870, but I would spend anything for my freaking dogs. I would. I love them so much. Like, they're my children. I might as well birth them out of my coochie coo. Love them so much. They're expensive. And then her puppy boosters were on January 9th. So that was $105. And then we did that 2 more times, once on January 30th and then another on February 8th. So her total vet bills since December 12th, $1,107. And then my other dog, Styles, I love him so much, but he started needing to go to the vet too recently. I don't know why they're having issues at the same exact time, but I started to notice that he was kind of like pulling his hair out and like chewing on his fur and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe he has fleas, but like I can't see any, like I haven't found any on him because he's a Corgi. It's really hard to get in there and see. It's got a lot of hair. And so I brought him to the vet. He was itching because she said it looks like he had like a couple flea bites, but not enough for really anything. So I got him some more flea and tick medicine, and then got his yearly done because I needed his shots because she had issues and I don't want him touching those. So, which he couldn't because he had all his puppy shots and boosters, but can't catch him. Anyways, his yearly and skin issue appointment was around $325. And I think my vet's a little bit more pricey than the other ones in my area, but I love them so much that I'll pay the extra money just because they're so good and they're so thorough. But then I brought him today, which today I think is the 26th. I think it's the 26th. Yeah, it's the 26th, February 26th. And brought him today because he's having bladder issues. So he'll like walk around and like pee at the same time. He does not go in the house, by the way. He'll walk through the house and like kind of pee, or he'll dribble like little puddles of pee on the floor, like that big. And obviously he's not been getting in trouble for this because he clearly doesn't mean to, because he freaks out after and thinks he's going to get in trouble. But brought him to the vet for that and told them, hey, like, by the way, he's been shaking his head, drooping his ear. I think he's having an ear infection. So boy gets a double whammy. He's got a UTI and an ear infection. So we had that done today, and that was $212. And then on the 7th, I have to bring him back to the vet because if he's for like a urinary sample checkup, and if he's not doing much better than that, like, and heals from the antibiotics, then we have to do an x-ray to make sure, because apparently male dogs are prone to crystals and stones in their urethra. So we have to make sure he doesn't have any of that. If he's not getting any better next time we go in, which is going to be at least $42 because that's how much their urinary samples are to do, like to test. So, and the two of my dogs in the past few months has been $1,644. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love my dogs to death. I would never, ever, like, want to get rid of them or anything. But they are giving me a run for my damn money. They are getting pricey. Anyways, moral of the story is, dogs are effing expensive. Especially two of them. And they will give you a run for your money. They're worth it. Run for your damn money, though.
One thing that I really wish people would stop doing is dumping all of their financial trauma onto me when it comes time to pay the bill. In this profession, I feel like a good chunk of the time, you know, when I'm going over an estimate with a client or I'm checking them out, I start getting all of these stories about how they can't afford it and why and how they have no money for it and this is an unexpected cost and all of these things. And I'm not a jerk. I know that unexpected costs really suck, especially when it's a big bill that you weren't planning for, but no matter what you say, I cannot change the prices. No amount of complaining or talking about it is going to give me the ability to change your bill for you, but it really takes a toll on you mentally when client after client after client is complaining to you about the cost and they're just like dumping all of their financial reasons onto you. I am all for like owners being upfront with their budget and you know how much they have to spend. I'm more than happy to sit down and go through an estimate and kind of prioritize what we should do first versus what we can maybe wait on. And I prefer for clients to do that. You know, I want to be able to help you figure out what you want to do for your pet, and contrary to popular belief, you know, we are recommending what is considered gold standard, but we also understand that not everybody is going to be able to afford that. There is a big difference between that and like dumping all of your financials onto me about like why you can't pay and how this is going to be so stressful for you. It's always awkward because I don't have anything to say. I cannot change the prices for you. I cannot change the bill. You know, it is what it is. You're saying all of these things and I can't do anything about it. Personally, you know, I would never go into like a dentist or a doctor's office, and if I got hit with a huge bill, I would never start like dumping that onto the people at the front or complaining about it to them. They are just doing their job. They are not in charge of my bill. That's something that I need to figure out on my own, and I should not be dumping that onto everybody else. I just wish that people would think a little bit more about what they're saying before they just lay it all out.
Stop blaming the vets for the high cost of vet bills. It is really not their fault. If you have a pet, just know that that pet is going to be very expensive to take care of. So if you are struggling on your own and you don't have extra save up for that pet for years to come, really, you are not ready for that pet.
Why are vets bills in the UK so expensive? So I haven't been on TikTok for quite a while, a number of days, which is strange because I've been on it every day since November and we're into August now. But my cat's been really poorly and it's been really difficult because we'd booked our first holiday in 5 years for the weekend, and so my cat went into an animal hospital not too far away from where we live, and so we went on holiday for one night, and we had the best time in Charmouth and Lyme Regis, sort of the Jurassic Coast. My son absolutely loved it, but the whole time he's too young, he doesn't understand what's going on. The whole time my husband and I are just waiting for results, and we should find out in the next couple of hours if he has leukemia. And it's been such a shock. He's never been ill. In 10 years, he's never been ill. He's been off his food a couple of times, but I mean, what we're talking about here is he hadn't eaten for days. We thought it was because there's building work going on in the park behind us, behind our house, and we thought he was anxious because he can get like that. But no, there's a strong possibility he has leukemia. The other thing that it could be is a severe gastroenteritis infection, which might have spread to his different organs. So what I didn't realise was how expensive vet fees are. Like, we have them insured. Lifetime gold. Like, I thought that would be, you know, a good enough insurance policy to hold on him, and it's crap. I mean, it's costing £1,500 a day for him to be at the animal hospital. And you can work that out. That's not very many days when you get up to £9,000 and you've run out of money. And you have to start paying towards it. And it gets really expensive. And if he does have leukemia, then chemo, can't afford that. And it makes me so, don't want to swear, so angry that because I'm not rich, there's a possibility that my cat is going to die. Because I can't afford it. I haven't got £1,500 a night. I just don't. And I just can't work it out. I mean, I know we're lucky we have an NHS here in the UK, and so I haven't had to pay if I've needed to go to hospital or anything. Like, you don't sit there and try and add up how much you owe. You don't have to do that. And then you're there doing it for a family member, for your cat, who's been in your life for 10 years, who was your first baby, essentially, my fur baby, and I can't get him fixed because I can't afford it. Now, I'm hoping in the next couple of hours we'll find out that actually there's something that can be done and that we won't be putting him down tomorrow. But if you have a pet, I'm sure you understand that the thought of that, I haven't been sleeping properly. I mean, what can I do?
I just got financially assaulted by my dog's vet just now. So basically my dog is allergic to everything. He takes hypoallergenic food and he also takes daily allergy medication. And mind you, he just started taking his allergy meds. And the previous time that he would go to the vet, it would be like a checkup, so everything would be added together, and quite frankly, I didn't realize how much these allergy medications cost. Tell me why his allergy medications for a 30-day supply is $130. Are you kidding me? When does allergy medication cost $130 for humans? Like, the last time that I checked, Claritin at CVS was a solid like $30. I don't know, I just think it's just ridiculous how overpriced vets are nowadays. So if anyone has any cheaper version of allergy medications for my dog, please let me know. I just took my dog to the vet for some issues that she was having and an allergy shot. I paid $626. $626. I don't even know how to process this for just kind of like this regular vet visit. Basically for them to tell me that she's probably going to need more blood work because she got blood work done today, but she's going to need more blood work to see if she has something else wrong with her. Like, oh God, I thank God I do have pet insurance, but it does not cover everything. And it is so, I love my dog with all my heart. I love her. She is my family. I will do whatever it is, but it hurts paying this kind of money. It's insane.
Last week we took my dog to the vet, and I wanted to show you a real perspective of how much it costs to take your dog to the vet when it's unexpected and not planned. Let me give you the breakdown. For reference, he is a 95-pound golden retriever boy, and he has had 3 seizures, so that's why we decided to go to the vet to figure out what's going on. So in total, our cost was $356. That was not as bad as we were thinking it was gonna be, but it was still pretty high. So before you get a dog, remember that you are gonna have to pay a lot of unexpected bills with them. We have 2, so we know that. So the breakdown of why it was $356 is because it was $65 for the exam. It was $180 for the canine wellness package, whatever that is. It was $15 for shipping the blood to the lab, And then it was $12 and $21 for the HeartGuard and Vectra for 2 of our dogs. And then it was $27 for the seizure medication. So that totaled up to about $320. And then I guess taxes made it go higher. So $354 is what we owed to take my dog to the vet. Yes. Fun stuff.
Is it just me, or does anybody else think that the animal health care is a fucking scam? Like, I literally just took my dog for a health certificate appointment so we can fly on Monday, and all they did was check his heart rate. She put his hand around him and signed a piece of paper that said he was good for $180 something. Does this not seem fair to me?
Hi everyone. I'm just sitting in the vet parking lot waiting for my cat to wake up. She has had quite the run the past week. She's had an infection. We found out she has kidney disease. And then today I find an open wound on her butt that has the most disgusting smell coming out of it. And she has like an abscess, which they don't know where it came from. So they just had to sedate her to take care of it because my cat is a vicious beast and will attack someone. And now she gets to wear a cone for a couple days, which I'm very happy that she is okay and that she'll be on different antibiotics. But holy smokes, the vet is freaking expensive. It is absolutely insane. Like, I'm obviously going to pay it, and I'm obviously going to bring her because I love her and I want her to be healthy and happy. But it is ridiculous that it also makes me sad because I can only imagine how many animals are not well or have issues that their owners can't afford to take them to the vet, and it breaks my soul. And maybe at one point in time they could afford to take them to the vet, and then something happened financially in their life and they can't. It just makes me very sad. And I'm just sad, happy. What's in my lip? Oh, you know, just some pizza sauce because I ate a cold slice of pizza in between her being put down and to sleep and then me needing to come and get her. So yeah, we'll see what Conehead Kitty's like for the next couple days. She's going to hate it because she likes to sleep under things and she's not going to be able to. But I hope everyone has a good night. Bye.
When I see people that post GoFundMes for their dying animals, it pisses me off. I understand generally the appeal of it. I get that vet bills are incredibly expensive, and if you can get people on the internet to help pay for them, more power to you. I crowdsourced a crab boil last night that I ate. Not in any position to judge you for getting money from strangers on the internet. However, I'm seeing a very large influx of people on this app who seem to get animals with no concept of how much money they should have. So when I see people on here who get a brand new kitten and 3 weeks in they're like, my kitten needs an expensive surgery and I can't afford to pay for it, will you guys help me pay for it? My answer is gonna be no. I'm sorry. My answer at that point is give away your kitten to somebody who can afford it. It is not outrageous to say that you should not adopt a dog or a cat or a pet like that unless you have at least a few hundred, if not $1,000 put aside and saved. I think there's a really large group of people that think about the immediate costs of having a pet, the food and the fun toys, and maybe the initial vet bills. And they don't consider the fact that when you have a pet for a while, eventually they're probably going to have some sort of medical problem where they need to go to the vet, which is notoriously an incredibly expensive place. The other thing that irritates me about it all is pet insurance exists. My cat had to get 8 teeth pulled, which was over $1,000. Pet insurance covered 90% of the bill. So I don't appreciate when people are getting pets with no money in the bank, no pet insurance, and also just sort of expecting that other people will help pay for it. I especially don't like it because there's this whole emotional aspect intertwined where people are like, this is my dog that I love and I've had for a long time. I believe you. I believe that you got attached to that dog and you love him very much and you don't want to give him up. However, should you have gotten him in the first place? It's the same as having a child. Can you afford to have a child? Do you have the space for a child? If your child goes through some large medical event, can you cover it? Because the internet cannot. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be what you're expecting as a standard.
If you want a pet, please plan for it. Do your research on how much that pet costs over time. It's actually very expensive. Paying for cleaners, shots for your pet, vet clinics, toys, collars, pet food as well is actually ridiculous. It's so expensive. Really plan ahead.
You need to stop slamming veterinarians online. I saw this comment last night. I went to the vet and I paid $60 and I came away with no answers and my dog's still the same. But then with no other kind of context around it, what the dog went there for, what the symptoms were, what the vet said, anything like that, but just a straight criticism on that vet. I can kind of guarantee that that client has gone in, seen the vet has said, hey, look, it might be this, we need to do testing or some sort of kind of workup. Clients, most of the time, don't want to spend the money or can't spend the money because vet bills are expensive. That isn't rocket science. We know this as a whole. Vet bills are expensive. So then instead, because they can't afford it, they don't go ahead with the testing. They get in line, make a slanderous comment and think that, oh, I'll just blame the vet because they couldn't tell me in the first go. A lot of the time we need to do testing. Testing costs money. If you don't have the money and disposable kind of money to spend on your pets that might need further workup if they're ill, get pet insurance. In the veterinary industry, we don't have any kind of subsidies or support or kind of reimbursements from the government like human medicine does. It's because it's animals, it's just never going to be taken as seriously as if it was humans. Like, you go to the doctor and you get like public health care, all that kind of thing. We don't have that for animals, and so therefore there are costs. I've worked in practice management, ordering kind of equipment, medications, all of that for years. Let me tell you that the markup that's put on those things is not a lot, because the price that vet clinics pay to start off with is a lot. You put the word veterinary in front of anything and it is costly. We know this. Stop slamming the vets, because what happens is those vets get so emotionally drained that they go, this isn't worth it anymore. I'm trying to do my job. And so therefore they leave. They leave the industry and then we don't have vets. So then there's less and less vets. You need to understand that suicide in the vet industry is huge. And it is such an emotionally draining job. At the end of the day, you don't want to go home and then see someone slamming you on the internet. People going into a veterinary clinic to work do it because they love animals. So imagine when they can't help an animal because the client can't pay for what the pet needs, and then the vet getting slammed for it.
Hi, this is for everyone who is thinking about getting a dog and they don't have one. Dogs are expensive, especially owning a dog in Seattle. So I just took my dog to the vet. Everything was relatively normal. He just had an increased appetite with less exercise. So I just wanted to check on things. And I have vet insurance, okay? But here is the rundown of the vet bill. Right. All they did was a blood work panel, okay? $625 later, and that's coming out of my pocket, and I pay $60 a month on insurance. However, 90% should be covered, but it's going to take like a month or two to get back, and you can't directly bill your insurance. Some vets now let you do that, but not my vet and not most vets. Okay, so here we go. This was about a 20-minute appointment. Exam consultation fee, $128. So every time he goes to the vet, it's $128 just for them to see him. Okay. $295 for the blood work panel. They added on thyroid testing, which pulls from the same blood sample, and that was $30. And then they added on cortisol testing, which was, again, from the same blood work sample, $172. So that's how it rung up to $625. So please consider medical costs if you're thinking about getting a dog. You better have a good savings and you better get pet insurance.
I do not agree with the statement, if you can't afford the pet, you shouldn't have them in your home. That, in my opinion, is a very entitled position to have, because you don't know what the circumstances are for that person or that pet. And the problem is much bigger than that. That is a blanket statement that we can say to people, and it's not compassionate. So I understand where this is coming from, and it's true. And it's important to keep in mind that people who have pets today adopted them or brought them into their homes under different pretenses. You might have a pet today that you adopted 5 years ago, and the costs were not what they are today. And no one could have predicted that we would be today. Well, I'm sure there are people who could have predicted it, but that's a separate TikTok, and I don't care to get into that. The point is that, yes, Caring for pets is super expensive. It's extraordinarily stressful, and there's no blanket policy that's going to fix this. Even telling people to apply for care credit or scratch pay, like, that's great, except a lot of people don't qualify for them, or they do qualify and then they're forced to pay back that money in a way that strains their budget, and they're choosing between, oh, I don't know, like food for themselves and paying off their care credit or scratch pay. Or even worse, if they don't pay those off in the time frame with 0% interest, it goes up to like 26% interest. Like, those are, like, that's not an option. And at the same time, I'm over here saying veterinary hospitals have to charge appropriately, because we have to start paying our support team what they are worth. They get underpaid, and they're part of the same group of people who can't afford veterinary care. Here's a little known fact. A lot of veterinary support team members stay in the profession just so that they can afford vet care, because most places will give them some kind of discount as part of their compensation package. Yeah, because they can't afford the very thing that they are providing for everyone else's pets. Oh, this is a huge topic. It's a huge conversation. I don't have good answers, but I wanted to come on and acknowledge that this is absolutely a big problem. The reason I'm sharing videos about products that are being sold to pet parents directly is because that is also a huge waste of money. And in a couple months of buying those supplements, or like the product I put up yesterday, the activated charcoal, in a couple months of buying those products, you could get an exam and get some answers, or at least start the conversation with a trusted veterinarian. And I just don't want pet parents to be wasting their money on supplements that are going to do absolutely nothing, or selling a dream like, oh, your dog's complex allergies and immune response are going to be fixed because you're buying these little chews that they're going to eat every day. Like, that's not a thing, and I don't want people wasting their hard-earned money or the little bit that they do have on something like that. I hope this helps.
I just wanted to take a second to address this comment thread. A lot of people internalize this statement and take it to mean that veterinary professionals are judging them in some way, or accusing them of not being able to take good care of their pet, or saying they don't deserve their pet, which is not true whatsoever. We 100% get that times are tough. We don't make a lot of money, so we completely understand. Not a lot of people are able to afford the $1,500 parvo hospitalization or the $3,000 knee surgery for their elderly dog, but it's not about you. It's about your pet, and having an emergency contingency plan in place for them so that they can have the best quality of life possible with you as their owner. There are options for you. Care Credit is one of the credit cards that's accepted by many veterinarians. You can have a pet insurance plan on your pet where it's a lower monthly cost than just an upfront bill. And on top of that, even just a cash savings set aside helps, because they need more than just food, water, shelter. They need veterinary care. And when the emergency comes, we don't want to have to see you make that hard decision.
You would not fucking believe how much veterinary care costs, and I'm gonna have to put my pet down now because I can't afford it. This is just ridiculous. Ariana, licensed vet tech, let's talk about it. Vet care costs, love it. My favorite. And when I say favorite, I mean I'm so sick of hearing this. I'm just gonna pull the band-aid off because most of us in vet med can't ever say this, but owning a pet is a privilege. That's it. Every single one of us is very much aware on how much cost is when it comes to caring for animals and their health care. So when you tell us that it's too much and then blame us because now you have to put your pet down because you don't have enough money for it, there's no sympathy, because nobody had a gun to your head telling you have to take that dog home now or you're going to die. They're going to shoot you. Nobody did that. You took that animal home knowing how much animal care cost is and that it's expensive. And you want to know how I know you knew how much it was? Just guess. Because people have been complaining about the cost of animal care for at least 20 years. So even if you have a 20-year-old cat, you knew it was expensive. Owning a pet is a privilege, just like owning a vehicle. You know owning a car is expensive. It truly blows my mind that I've gotten blamed for having to kill someone's pet because they cannot afford the veterinary care. That is not my fault, friend. That pet did not just walk up to your house one day. And because I know that they're pets that have, you chose to keep them. You can give me every fucking excuse you can think of, I've heard it. You made the choice to have this animal in your house, and it is your responsibility and nobody else's. If you cannot afford that, that is your fault. And if you have to put your pet down as a result, that is your fault as well. It is not fair to blame your staff for that, especially staff that's underpaid to be able to give you low-cost health care. I don't know if people realize, but once insurances get integrated with veterinary care, cost is going up for the same reasons that human health care does. And unfortunately, I think we're going that way. Guess whose fault it's not? Your vet staff. I have sympathy for your pet, not you. Signed, every veterinary staff person ever and always.
She just said it. Owning a pet is a privilege. Very few people can actually afford to own a pet. A lot of people have pets, but they can't really afford a pet. Out of everywhere else in the world, very few people have pets. And if you know you cannot afford that privilege, please do not get a pet.
This will probably be controversial, but I'm a firm believer you should wait to get a dog until you are financially stable enough to adequately and comfortably accommodate the expenses of properly caring for a dog. Not just for the well-being of the dog, but also for the well-being of the person. And many people may say, well, Maddie, a dog in a home that may not be the best home is still better than a dog in a shelter. And interestingly enough, I actually just read something that said the number one reason a dog ends up in shelter is due to poverty. So the way we stop the overpopulation issue is not by telling people who aren't ready for dogs to take dogs into their home. The solution to the shelter overpopulation issue is to advocate for responsible and ethical breeding and to educate more people about the issues puppy mills and backyard breeders contribute to the canine species as a whole. If you love dogs, but you just financially aren't ready for one, a way to help with that shelter dog population issue would be to foster a dog. Being a foster home is a great way to have the experience of having a dog, but oftentimes the organizations cover all or most of the expenses. You could even consider doing something like raising a guide dog puppy, because often those expenses are covered as well. Or you could find somebody in your neighborhood that could benefit from a free dog walker. Or if you want to use your love of dogs to make extra money to help save for a dog, you could create a Rover profile and be a dog sitter. And this by no means is saying that you shouldn't get a dog if you can't afford super nice beds and raw food. That's not what I'm saying at all. Even just the baseline expenses of having a dog these days is very expensive. You don't want to decimate your financial future or put yourself in a really big hole because you took on dog expenses that you aren't ready to handle.
I just saw a video of a girl stressed about money call her cat a financial burden, and one of the comments was like, these same people never admit they're not financially stable enough to take care of a pet. So I just want to tell y'all what I do, because, well, y'all just saw her tail, but I have a cat, and I am not financially stable enough to take care of a pet. But I'll tell you, because I'm in college, but I'll tell you how I do it. First of all, I do work full-time, but still, like, with rent and all my bills, like, I probably wouldn't make enough money to take care of her if I didn't do this. But I basically just made a savings account for her. And I mean, kittens in the beginning have to go to the vet a lot, but then, you know, hopefully if your cat doesn't have any issues, then they only need to go to the vet once a year. So I made a savings account for my cat before I got her, saved up enough money for like her shots, getting her spayed, and stuff like that. I saved for the spay while I had her, like for the first 6 months that she was alive. But yeah, so now like all of her shit is taken care of, and I just have a savings account that's just sitting with money in it, just in case. It's also kind of like an emergency backup for me if I, you know, something happened and I needed the money. But yeah, it's not a lot of money that goes into the account. I think I put like 5 or 10% of my paycheck in it every week. It's not a significant amount, but you know, hopefully if your animal is healthy, then they don't need to go to the vet that much, and then this savings account could really build up. So do with that what you will.
If you can't afford veterinary health care for your pet, routine annual care, emergency care for your pet, or pet health insurance to help with both of those, you can't afford a pet.
I'm going to disagree with this creator. First of all, the circumstances in which you obtain a pet may not be the circumstances you find yourself in several months, years, whatever. Considering how many Americans are one paycheck away from like absolute financial ruin, this means that almost no one would have a pet. I don't think pets are a privilege just for the rich. I also think it's important to note that most people will never experience an emergency with their pet. And yes, we are seeing the rise of breeds that need a lot more medical attention like brachycephalics, but by far and away, most people will never step foot in a veterinary ER because their pet probably won't need it. I've worked in affluent areas and not so affluent areas, and I understand the frustration that comes as a caregiver. Feeling limited and then starting to have this compassion fatigue because you can't help when you want to. But this idea that people should have thousands of dollars to just drop on a moment's notice for a pet is super unrealistic. And it's just not one that I agree with.
My girls are 18 months and 9 months old. I took them to the vet just about a month ago for their very first actual vet intake visit. And when I showed the vet what we do to cut costs, she said, I wish more people knew they could do this. So I'm going to share it with you. We knew as soon as we decided to get dogs, the only way we could afford them was to do our own vaccines. So we figured it out. We went on websites, we researched, and we found that our local farm supply store, you can purchase your own vaccines and do them yourself. Keep meticulous records to show to the vet when you do finally have to take them. But also know if you're not comfortable doing your own shots, you can go to local farm supply stores. They often have vet clinics, and those vet clinics are at least a third of the cost of a vet actual visit, saving you the money that makes it possible to spoil your pets just a little bit extra that you probably wouldn't, or just making having a pet affordable in a way that you didn't think was possible before. I hope this helps.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.